In light of the current economic crisis, how do you propose to make higher education more affordable for both lower-income students and middle-class students who may not qualify for traditional financial aid?
Well, thank you very much for that question. This is Senator Cappiello and I both have spoken very recently to Danbury High School students. This is a question that I would imagine came up in both of our visits there, because this is really a fundamental question, not just for students, but for families who are struggling to try to get their kids to college. And to me, this is just an issue of fairness, that your ability to pay should not be the barrier to students being able to get higher education. The strength of our economy is based in our workforce, and the fact that we still have the most productive, best educated workforce in the nation. I'm proud of the work that we've done in the last 2 years on this issue. In this Congress, in a bipartisan fashion, we were able to pass the largest increase in student aid funding since the GI Bill was passed, a bill that would lower the student loan interest rate in half, from 6.8 to 3.4%. That's a $4,000 savings for the average student, increasing the Pell Grant by $500 a year, and making a compact for students who decide to go into public service professions, that if you stay in that profession for a period of 10 years, whether it be nursing or teaching or law enforcement, that we'll forgive all or a portion of your student loans. But we still had a lot of work to do. And it's really a question of priorities. One of the reasons that I oppose the war in Iraq, one of the reasons why I believe that Congress should set a timetable to withdraw our forces from that field of battle, not just because I think that it's compromising our national security, but because I think we can spend that money better here at home. The $10 million a month can be spent on increasing our commitment to those students who see too many barriers to getting that college education. And so it's a matter to me of shifting resources, building upon really a success that hasn't gotten enough attention in the last 2 years, that will save thousands for students, and recommitting ourselves to building on that fundamental strength of our American economy, the strength of our workforce and our educational system.
Thank you. I don't fundamentally disagree with my opponent on this issue. I'm very, very proud of my work in the state legislature in a number of years for a tuition freeze that we had passed for all students who go to our state colleges and universities. We've had some of the largest increases in educational funding in our state's history in the last 2 years on a bipartisan effort. I look here at Western Connecticut State University and the work that we've done since I've been in office, how different Western is from when I went there many years ago. We used to park in a mud pit, and now it's just a beautiful, beautiful school with great opportunities for all of our students. But since my opponent and I agree on the fundamental issue of trying to get more young people educated and make it more affordable for them, he had brought up the war, so I'm going to bring up something else. Now, I know the war has been very, very costly, and the Congressman and I have not differed on many issues with regards to the war. But we look at the cost of the war, and it's about $700 billion in the last number of years. And I'm going to come back to the $700 billion bailout and to what it's going to cost those same students who are going to school, those same students, and the debt that they are going to be carrying, the burden that they are going to carry. I think about right now, $37,000 debt that my 2 sons are starting out with because of the massive spending increases by Congress. You can't simply say you're for everything that spends more money. You have to think about where you can save money. You do have to prioritize, and sometimes you have to say no. Sometimes you have to look through and find every bit of waste you can in our federal government. But sometimes you just have to say no, to say, if we're going to make education a priority, we have to cut back somewhere else. In the last 2 years, that hasn't happened. Because like I said, our debt, national debt, has gone from $9.5 trillion to $11.4 trillion after that $700 billion is spent. That's an awful lot of money. In one vote, it cost almost as much as the entire Iraq war.
For a while there, I thought we were going to go 2 in a row with no rebuttals. Here we go. 30 seconds.
Well, I will come back to the war, because that is, I think, one of the biggest cost savings for this country, an opportunity to reinvest. And there is a difference between Senator Cappiello and I on this issue. I believe that if you entrust me with your vote, that I should exercise it to try to end this war. Senator Cappiello does not believe that. He does not believe that Congress should step in and have anything to say about when this war ends. If that's the prescription for this country, then that's an invitation to spend far more than $700 billion more on this war, especially if one of the presidential candidates gets elected and wants to stay there for another 100 years.
Senator Cappiello.
Thank you. First of all, my opponent talks about saving money by pulling the troops out of Iraq, when he then says at other debates he would send them all to Afghanistan. So where is the savings, Congressman? Where is the savings? And you and I fundamentally agree about going into this war. We shouldn't have gone. But we have to be realistic. Today, another province was secured and was handed over to the Iraqi government. Our troops are withdrawing. The President and Senator Barack Obama and Senator John McCain have all agreed that they want to withdraw troops over time. No one has set a timeline. You voted for a timeline, but with $20 billion of domestic pork in that bill. That's playing with our soldiers' lives for domestic pork.